The New World Order is a theory that, at a very high level, refers to the idea of the emergence of a one-world totalitarian government.
A conspiracy bigger and more secret than the Manhattan Project.
Common themes that are associated with it are, a secret power elite with a globalist agenda conspire for world domination through dissolving all sovereign nation states into a global government with an all-encompassing totalitarian power that culminates in a single individual ruling the entire world.
It's not hard to imagine. A government hiding.
And so the idea is to first set up multiple global bodies that, that are accepted by all nations in the name of peace and safety and, the spirit of philanthropy.
Driven not only by corporate greed, but a darker objective.
The takeover of America.
It's really behind the scenes. It's setting up these international bodies. Once they're created and once they're functional, well, those serve as the actual backbone of the New World Order system and the global government.
And then the world itself, by any means necessary, however violent, or cruel, or efficient. By severe drought, brought on by weather wars, conducted secretly using aerial contaminants and high-altitude electromagnetic waves. In a state of perpetual war. To create problem, reaction, solution scenarios to distract, enrage, and enslave American citizens at home. With tools like the Patriot Act and the National Defense Authorization Act, which abridge the Constitution in the name of national security. The militarization of police forces in cities across the U.S., the building of prison camps by the Federal Emergency Management Agency with no stated purpose, the corporate takeover of food and agriculture, pharmaceuticals and healthcare, even the military in clandestine agendas to fatten, dull, sicken, and control a populace already consumed by consumerism.
And I encourage you all to go shopping more.
A government that taps your phone, collects your data, and monitors your whereabouts with impunity. A government preparing to use that data against you when it strikes. And the final takeover begins.
The takeover of America.
This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of the...
So instead of a swift implementation by force, it's actually decided that the best approach is probably accomplished through gradualism. So you do this over time, over various generations, by stealth and through secrecy.
A goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one-world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers, and they're doing it in sections. The European currency, the euro, and the European Constitution is one part of it. Now they're trying to do it in America with the North American Union.
President Bush signed a formal agreement that will end the United States as we know it. And he took the step without approval from either the U.S. Congress or the people of the United States.
I risk sounding like a conspiracy theorist, but it's no longer a theory. What I'm about to say is fact. The secret organizations of the world power elite are no longer secret. They have planned and are now leading us into a one-world communist government.
He said, well, how do you do that? Well, you have international trade agreements and corporatizing nation states.
This time, a new world order with business at the helm of trade and economic policy. It's an agenda that goes hand in hand with the United States, Mexico, and Canada, working quietly and behind the scenes to promote a common market with common deregulation for the benefit of multinational corporations.
It's remarkable to me, the arrogance, the idea of just simply throwing away the nation's sovereignty, but they're trying to do so in so many ways. People better understand that they mean exactly what they're saying. It's a new world order.
Land is taken from nations in the name of environmental and ecological preservation. The land is under state control, then union control, and then under global control. So populations of humans are then, herded into city centers where they can be more easily microchipped.
Company 3 Square Market announced its plans to install rice-sized microchips in its employees.
You will be chipped. It's just a matter of time.
Hannah's getting an electronic chip implanted into her hand.
A microchip implanted beneath the skin gives people the same capabilities as dozens of cards and devices.
Implant tiny microchips into its employees. Thanks to some special implants. Here's an x-ray of her hands.
During this registration, a small identification chip will be implanted under the skin.
Everyone in the city was installed code. It was a brilliant idea by Dr. Cocteau that an organically bioengineered microchip be sewn into the skin. Sensors all over the city can zero in on anyone at any time.
They're talking now about putting chips in people so that they can have their medical records and their bank records readily accessible, and that's how it's being sold.
It can even tell you the amount of sleep that you got last night, if any.
The difficulty is, of course, it gives the government the ability to track every individual in America 24 hours a day.
This will be mandatory for all natural humans.
What do you think you're scratching, caveman? You really think we'd let you go without control?
Excuse me, but in light of the recent attacks on our town, the government has mandated the use of these chips at our university. So you can go ahead and kick me out of your classroom, okay? But the use of this chip is required.
Those who fail to register will be considered enemies of the Neo-Sapien government and will be dealt with accordingly.
And tracked and controlled and surveilled.
The world's first digital dictatorship. Facial recognition, body scanning, and geo-tracking, matched with your personal data and online behaviour, will power the social credit system, leaving no dark corner to hide in. It will allow the trustworthy to roam freely under heaven, while making it hard for the discredited to take a single step, mapping your digital footprint to every step you take. What you do, say, and even think is being monitored and marked against you.
The people that get out of line, well, you know, there's population controls implemented.
The FEMA bill allows the government to run at least 6 military installations when a national emergency is declared.
The question is, can they kill our own citizens inside our own country?
Well, the answer,
this is a question we have to ask.
It's not a question that we should have to ask.
The Salvation Army and Russian Winds homeless shelter, where they were accepting people, were caught killing everybody that was in there.
I'm at the neighborhood Walmart in San Jose, California. This is what it has become. I did not want to believe it.
I asked him about the field of black boxes. What were they? Because I'd never seen anything like that. They're disposable coffins, I believe he told me. And the CDC owned them, and that they were leasing his land for storage. There was 125,000 there, and they were stacked, he told me, 15 high.
To more easily monitor and control the movement of individuals, including, you know, slowing down, if not even stopping, the growth of human society altogether. He said, well, how would you do that? Well, you got, you know, reproductive health and family planning and contraception and abortion and genocides and unnecessary wars and plagues and engineering bacteria and tainting vaccines and international environmental disasters and weather control, HAARP and chemtrails. And so if you look at the timeline for how this has been implemented, it's been implemented gradually. So you had, you know, the United States Federal Reserve System in 1913, the League of Nations in 1920, the International Monetary Fund in 1944, the United Nations in 1945, also the World Bank in 1945, the World Health Organization in 1948, the European Union and the Euro currency in 1993, the World Trade Organization in 1998. And so the first main goal of these global institutions are to merge all the nations into unions.
Security and Prosperity Partnership of North America sounds benign, hardly like a policy that critics call NAFTA on steroids. It's a deal that few have even heard of.
It's being done again by very few people at the very top on behalf of the investment class, but the working class of people. Political officials across our country, from communities, from cities and so forth, they don't know anything about this.
Yet it was agreed to by Mexico's President Fox, Canada's Prime Minister Martin, and President Bush in 2005. Other parts of the agreement mention border security as an issue, which include all of North America. In fact, the name of the agreement is not Security and Prosperity of the United States, but of North America.
All the nations into unions, and then over time merge the unions together into a super state, united in all areas of transportation and law enforcement and agriculture, regulation, banking, manufacturing, construction, education, immigration, military, environment, and of course, healthcare.
When we elect officials, we expect them to act on our behalf. When we get involved in cooperative frameworks with other countries for joint regulation of fisheries or rail transportation or the skies, we're basically sharing our sovereignty with that government and outsourcing some of what we give our elected officials.
Included in that bill is a section which calls for the securing of Mexico's southern border by the United States and Canada. Lou, that's not the border with the United States, that's the border they share with Belize and Guatemala.
I was asked the other day about whether or not I really thought the American people had the stomach to stand up and stop this nonsense, this direction from a group of elites in absolute contravention of our law, of our Constitution, every national value.
Right, so as you can imagine, a project of this scale would require a lot of brain power. This is where you have all the, the think tanks, the elite businessmen and, the politicians that are retired and heads of state and former military generals and, the technology buffs who are part of the Trilateral Commission.
All right, what is the Trilateral Commission? It's an organization founded in 1973 by David Rockefeller to bring together business and political leaders from the United States, Europe, Japan, so they could work together for better economic and political cooperation between their nations.
That's what they'd like us to believe. But you see, what they're really up to is a scheme to plant their own loyal members in positions of power in this country, to work to erase national boundaries and create an international community, and in time bring about a one world government.
Can you specify this structure, you're talking about this power structure?
Well, the power structure basically is made up of a lot of very powerful business and corporate leaders in the country. And in particular, they have formed their organizations. They've been around for a good while, and they don't even hide it anymore. The Trilateral Commission, as well as the Council of Foreign Relations. No matter which president, which party is in power, they will appoint to the major offices members of these two committees. And I said, I don't think the members of Congress really know how little effect they have in controlling things. Really, and that means that the Congress itself doesn't have much control. The people doesn't have much they don't have much to say about it either. The control of overall policy is really in the hands of a very small number of people who control all the administrations, all the appointments to cabinets, and certainly all the appointments to the Federal Reserve.
And the Council on Foreign Relations.
It's good to be back at the Council on Foreign Relations. As Pete mentioned, I've been a member for a long time and was actually a director for some period of time. I never mentioned that when I was campaigning for re-election back home in Wyoming.
The Royal Institute of International Affairs.
The Rothschilds organized a number of groups called, one was the Royal Institute of International Affairs in London. It's called Chatham House. And that is the think tank of all of Europe today.
The Club of Rome.
The Club of Rome is a global network of independent and renowned thinkers. The Club of Rome encourages global debate in order to set in motion actions that by the middle of the century will ensure a more secure, equitable and prosperous world.
The United Nations and the Bilderberg Group.
If there's one party leaders want to be invited to, it's Bilderberg.
The Bohemian Grove.
Don't read the sign. Midsummer sets us free. You shall burn me once again.
Etc. The list is long. And so you go, well, none of this would be possible without, two concepts, actually two doctrine, the two doctrine policy, as it's called. It's the idea of this is what we're going to do, and then, here's what we're going to tell, the people that we're doing, so that they don't freak out and revolt. So to do that, you have to have control over mass media. You have to control the local newspapers and the periodicals and the magazines and the TV and local radio stations. And you have to control, the online repositories of information on the internet, which are you get the verified and, the fact-checked articles. And so this is why you have 5 companies controlling most of mass media.
Consumer News: economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
Economic factors may take some spring out of the Easter Bunny step this year.
A Baltimore company thinks it has a solution for you. Could this be the end of email overload?
Could this be the end of email overload?
Could this
this be the end of email overload?
Could 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 this be the end of email overload?
While those with a special someone may look to their mobile device to help them say, I love you.
Those with a special someone may look to their mobile device to help them say, I love you.
Those with a special someone may look to their mobile device to help them say, I love you.
Those with a special someone may look to their mobile device to help them say, I love you.
Those with a special someone may look to their mobile device to help them say, I love you.
It's Cyber Monday, a day on the retail calendar that can be enjoyed from a desk or the couch.
Enjoyed from a desk or a couch.
Enjoyed from a desk or maybe the couch.
Enjoyed from a desk or the couch.
Enjoyed from a desk or the couch.
Enjoyed from the desk or even the couch.
Enjoyed from a desk or the couch.
Mike Myers says, yeah, baby.
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 Frank Ocean tells a major fast food chain to buzz off. And which celeb peed in a glass jar?
Frank Ocean tells a major fast food chain to buzz off. And which celeb peed in a glass jar?
Frank Ocean tells a major fast food chain to buzz off. And which celeb peed in a glass jar?
Frank Ocean tells a major fast food chain to buzz off. And which celeb peed in a glass jar? Interesting question.
Frank Ocean telling the major fast food chain to buzz off. And which celeb peed in a glass jar?
A child's happiness is priceless, especially on a birthday.
A child's happiness is priceless, especially on a birthday.
A child's happiness is priceless, especially on a birthday.
A child's happiness is priceless, especially on a birthday.
Well, a child's happiness is priceless, right? Especially on a birthday.
A child's happiness is priceless, especially on a birthday.
Who are you really shopping for this holiday season? It's okay, you can admit it, if you've bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
Well, it's okay. You can admit it if you have bought an item or 2 or maybe 10 for yourself.
It's okay. You can admit it. You've bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it if you bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay. You can admit it if you bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay. You can admit it if you've bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about troubling and irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Millions of Americans staying at home are relying on Amazon.
Millions of Americans staying at home are relying on Amazon.
Millions of Americans staying at home are relying on Amazon.
Millions of Americans staying at home are relying on Amazon.
Amazon has transformed its operations in response to COVID-19 to protect employees and keep packages flowing.
Amazon has transformed its operations in response to COVID-19 to protect employees and keep packages flowing.
The company is keeping its employees safe and healthy while still delivering those packages to your doorstep.
The company is keeping employees safe and healthy.
The company is keeping its employees safe and healthy.
The company is keeping its employees safe and healthy.
The company is keeping its employees safe and healthy.
The company is keeping its employees safe and healthy.
The company is keeping its employees safe and healthy. The company is keeping its employees safe and healthy.
It spent $800 million on increased wages and overtime pay during the pandemic.
It has spent $800 million on increased wages and overtime pay during the pandemic.
It has spent $800 million on increased wages and overtime pay during the pandemic.
It has spent $800 million on increased wages and overtime pay during the pandemic.
Amazon says it has spent $800 million on increased wages and overtime pay during the pandemic.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 Time Warner, Disney, News Corp, Bertelsmann, and Viacom. To accomplish this takes a lot of money. And so the ability to move money freely, is very important. Hence, you have the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank and central banks and tax revenue and, interest revenue and Bank of International Settlements. And so, with these two tools, money and media, though they're essential, they're not enough. If people ask, why is that not enough? People are like sheep. You have to shepherd them in the direction you want them to go. So, and no mechanism of control works better than fear. And so you need to create the fear. You need to create a level of fear that rises to the level of a crisis.
And this administration has been, I think, responsible for inciting the very terror that it was the terrorist's purpose to incite in America.
Calling it Code Orange Plus. The Fed's decision to raise the terror alert to high. America on high alert from biggest cities to smallest towns.
Red, yellow, orange. We're afraid. Be afraid. What level of fear? The government can program that without any justification. We have an intelligence report. The terrorists are about to attack. Who? We don't know. Where? We don't know. What? We don't know. But you tell us, so now we're afraid.
A Connecticut man wrapping his family's 19th century farmhouse with plastic, sealing it in duct tape.
Control crises. You need black propaganda. You need false flag attacks. You need, staged events. Events like, you think about it, you go, a false flag attack would be something like 9/11. And after that, you get the war on terror.
While the smoke's still rising out of the ruins of the World Trade Center and out of the Pentagon, we're told that this has gone beyond simply 19 men hijacking 4 airplanes. And this has turned into a global conspiracy against the United States that must be confronted militarily.
One has to say it's not just simply a matter of capturing people and holding them accountable, but removing the sanctuaries, removing the support systems, ending states who sponsor terrorism.
After that, we had, black propaganda. Black propaganda is, weapons of mass destruction.
Where are Saddam Hussein's weapons of mass destruction?
There weren't any.
Former Chief Weapons Inspector David Kay said last week, quote, "We were all wrong about Saddam's WMD."
By now, the world knows there was a massive intelligence failure in the war on Iraq.
We got the war on Iraq, right? So a controlled crisis would be something like COVID-19.
Think about where to start.
Well, he saw something. What is it?
I saw a virus. I think. Some kind of disease.
A virus? Like what? Like SARS?
I don't know. All I know is that it's highly infectious.
We need to make sure that everybody that's inside stays inside. I'm going to get a few deputies on it. We'll call it a lockdown.
We know it acts like a virus. It causes high fever and respiratory distress. Whatever it is, it originated in China.
How long is it going to take?
Well, it took 34 days to isolate the coronavirus that caused SARS, and that's fast.
This is it. This is your virus.
I'm sorry, but there's no cure for that. Chloroquine, that's an anti-malarial drug.
No. Listen, it suppresses the enzymes.
What happened? We started everyone on chloroquine, stopped the thing dead in its tracks.
President Trump says he's optimistic about some potential treatments for the novel coronavirus. In particular, a malaria drug called chloroquine.
I do want to ask you about hydroxychloroquine. The president was pushing it pretty strong again yesterday.
As an example, many Americans have read studies and heard media reports about this drug chloroquine.
But now I'm telling you, we're facing a new strain. What? It spreads like the flu. You got to isolate the sick, and I mean really isolate them, Billy. We got to get everybody else back into their houses. We got to keep them there.
Our best defense has been social distancing. No handshaking, staying home when you're sick, washing your hands frequently.
How long a person is contagious. Sometimes people can be contagious without even having symptoms.
The findings of new research revealed that around 50% of those who did test positive
had no symptoms.
The numbers of reported infections are grossly underreported because so many people are not showing symptoms.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sir Simon Rattle. Tonight, as a tribute to the British film industry.
Well, that is English humor at its best.
한 건 좀 더 조사를 해봐야겠지만 변종된 코로나 바이러스입니다.
코로나면 혹시 메르스?
메르스, 사스, 감기 모두 동일한 바이러스의 유전 정보를 지닌 패밀리로 보면 돼요. 코로나는 호흡기 질환을 일으키는 대표적인 바이러스고.
Hey, all right, man. Where do you go, babe? You can take out the mask, Doug. The case fatality rate's like 0.1 to 0.3 according to USC. Is it really? That's reassuring. USC. Everybody here's been vaccinated anyway.
A new coronavirus spread silently within her. Mild flu-like signs to severe pneumonia. The sickest required intensive care. Many died.
Governments need to be willing to do things that are out of their historical perspective, or for the most part, it's really a war footing that we need to be on.
Right, it's a staged medical event. And what do? You get the first full-scale global government exercise.
This matters going forward. We're in a live exercise here.
What the heck is happening in this country right now?
There are people who have been planning this for a long time. Antifa, Soros. There are people that have anarchistic tendencies and views, socialist tendencies. They want us to be part of one big world government. This could be the start of that.
By a well-oiled and well-armed multinational group of elites that will cull, kill, and subjugate.
Happening as we sit here.
It's happening all around us.
The other shoe waiting to drop.
This is going to define the next 100 years. There's going to be a new world order after this virus.
All of this is to gain resource control over the entire world's resource panoply. And so this is something that was detailed in the United Nations Agenda 21. So Agenda 21 is a United Nations plan agreed by 179 nations back in 1992. So the goal was the guise of sustainable development, but the real idea was to control all, and they detail it. Land, water, minerals, animals, construction, productivity, food and energy, total integration of all information, control over all human beings.
You can't say these things.
This is detailed in the 3 pillars, right? Economy, ecology, and equity. People, they've read these articles and they think that it means, clean air, clean water, clean food and resources for everybody. But really what it's about is impoverishing huge portions of the population by first bringing down the development nations, collapsing their economies.
Around the world, economies are crumbling.
Today's jobs report fills in a picture of devastating unemployment nationwide, not seen since the Great Depression.
The most significant economic crisis of a generation.
Well, it's devastating, just as you said. The official unemployment rate is about 14.7%, but if you dig below the numbers, I think it's really around 22 or 23%.
Coronavirus has oil below $50 a barrel. U.S. demand in China has dropped off substantially.
You're impacting the demand for copper, iron ore, even gold is going down.
America's Department of Labor has recorded the highest ever number of new unemployment claims in the past 2 weeks, just under 10 million.
Well, it is the worst crisis since the Great Depression, but it is more than that, because it is a combination of a health crisis and an economic shock.
In the last 2 years, you've been blamed for financial collapse of Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Japan, and Russia.
Yeah, all of the above.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Are you that powerful?
I think that I've been blamed for everything. I am basically there to make money. I cannot and do not look at the social consequences of what I do.
You can take a position against a currency or make a statement, and the whole country falls apart.
So you get this sustainable development is disguised attempt to impose global communism. It's not about bringing balance and well-being to the people. It's about balance of corporate power, harmonizing corporate systems so they can more effectively and easily integrate, control the masses. This is what it's about. This brings us to what's known as the surveillance state, or the surveillance industrial complex. So what do you get with that? You get mass surveillance.
They're constantly monitored by facial recognition cameras that are able to instantly put a face to a name. Now the Chinese are also ranked.
It has enabled a cashless economy where people make purchases with their faces. A giant network of surveillance cameras with facial recognition helps police monitor citizens. Classrooms have robots that analyze students' health and engagement levels. Students wear uniforms with chips that track their locations. There are even surveillance cameras that monitor how often students check their phones or yawn during classes.
We're now going to have social credit scores like we have in China, right? That's going to culminate with the smart vaccination, right? The RFID technology.
Smart vaccination is a revolutionary concept based on the RFID chip in the vaccines, connecting with eProdermic and the application eProlink.
How does the optional RFID chip work?
Well, each of these devices that are injection have the capacity to also have a small chip. What that chip does is it has the unique serial number for each dose.
So this is why everything has to be a part of the 5G grid. So you're going to have 5G and 6G and whatever G comes after that, all right? That's known as the smart grid. Anything that can be connected will be connected.
People go to, well, 5G is just a faster phone, right? Because that's what initially we've always seen the G linked to a phone.
So you walk into a restaurant after you've ordered your food, and a camera picks you up and you say, hey, David, welcome, here's your food, right? So you're starting to get the feel of what a 5G world is. And what is a 5G world? The platform is the network. So this is mobile computing paired with a pipe. 5G is computing and networking combined on the same platform. So this goes away. You walk outside your door and you say Uber. You don't get on your phone and say, I want an Uber. You just say Uber. Camera picks up your face or a microphone picks up you.
Come on.
That's what 5G is.
They have 1 billion right now on surveillance. 1 billion cameras in China right now.
With artificial intelligence for facial recognition, right? Your facial recognition is built into your interaction when you go into a restaurant or when you go into a store or when you go into a bank. You know, everything's about, you know, the devices connected. 5G network, 3 million devices per square mile. You're not going to carry 12 smartphones. You may not even carry a smartphone.
10,000 to 3 million?
10,000 to 3 million. That's what 5G does. The connectivity explodes, right? So that allows you to put devices literally everywhere that can make your life more convenient or can track you.
Welcome back. New video surveillance technology will be rolled out next month to help Australian businesses maintain social distancing in the workplace. Powered by artificial intelligence, the system includes contact tracing and COVID-19 mask detection capabilities without the need for a phone app.
As more Australians head back to the office and factories, a new tool will be activated on June 1st to make enforcing pandemic distancing rules easier. Developed by Motorola Solutions, this smart surveillance system will watch where people walk and where foot traffic is causing close contact. It will record it and report it for action. Artificial intelligence is doing all the heavy lifting, so real people don't have to watch hours of video. For example, if wearing a mask is a company policy, you'll be flagged by the system when you're not wearing one. If successful, it could be a game changer in the battle to stop the spread of COVID-19 in the community.
So we're talking about household appliances, refrigerators, the toaster ovens, Alexa, Echo Dot, the Ring, any home security device, your phone, Siri, and Hey Google, right? Now instead of tracking your body, you know, from the outside, they can track your body from the inside, right, with the smart vaccination. So all of this is the goal of, you know, it's a part of that whole grid. And so what do you get? You get world population control.
Should we limit the world's population to save the planet?
More than 11,000 scientists signed a petition calling for population control.
Of all the things that are out there, what could cause an excess in a single year of 10 million deaths? Now, clearly a big war could, and a pandemic, natural or created by bioterror.
The real problem is this, James. 2 decades, there will be 7 billion human beings on this planet. Most of them brown, yellow, or black. All of them hungry. All of them determined to love. They'll swarm out of their breeding grounds into Europe and North America. Hence Vietnam. An all-out effort there will give us control of South Asia for decades to come. And with proper planning, we can reduce the population to 550 million by the end of the century. I know. I've seen the data.
So you'll have a one-world religion.
So now we will proceed with the signing ceremony of the Unity of Religion Agreement. The Unity of Religion Agreement is a groundbreaking promise of religions to unite unconditionally and without discrimination to achieve true peace.
A one-world government with world courts and, prisons with world laws and world police and military. You get mind control programming as a world citizen, right? You've heard this whole movement starting out. You're now a world citizen.
The coronavirus is an enormous global challenge, and meeting it requires global cooperation. We're also glad to be teaming up with Global Citizen.
This is being led by the corporations, and they're telling you what the agenda is. How do they do this? Through commercial media. That's how they do it. So, what they do is they start off by saying, how long they've loved and cared for you.
When we first opened our doors.
Since 1926.
Since 1978.
For 60 years.
For 75 years.
For over 80 years.
In 90 years.
Over 100 years.
They've taken care of their people, their families, and even you.
Nationwide has been on your side.
Restaurants have always been there for you.
Nissan has been with you through thick and thin.
We will do what we've always done.
Take care of people.
We're people.
People.
People. People.
People.
People. And family.
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 Family. Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Families are families.
Family.
Right. Especially now. In times like these.
Especially now. Especially now.
Right now.
Now more than ever.
More than ever.
Today more than ever.
Today more than ever.
These uncertain times.
These times of uncertainty.
During this time of great uncertainty.
During these uncertain times.
During these uncertain times.
In uncertain times.
In uncertain times. Uncertain times.
Though we have to stay apart.
It's time of social distancing. While the doors may be closed.
While the distance between us has gotten bigger.
The more we stay apart.
Even when we're apart.
Yet we can find ways to stay close. Though we've lost our freedoms. Yet we can still be social, guys, without leaving the safety of our homes.
Without leaving the comfort and safety of your home. Without leaving the safety of your home.
From home.
Home. Your home.
At home. 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 Home.
Home. Home. That's the key.
So after all, it's the corporations that were created to create a totalitarian corporate global state that just destroyed your entire economy as planned generations ago. But what do they say? We're here for you.
Here for you.
Here for you.
We're here for you.
We're here for you.
We are here for you.
We're here for you.
We are here for you. We'll be here for you.
Runnings is here for you.
We're still here for you.
We're with you.
You can trust us.
So you can trust us.
You can count on us.
Because we're all in this new world order. Together.
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 Together. Together.
Together.
Together.
Together.
Together.
Together.
Together. And together.
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 Together. Together.
Together.
Together.
Cue the applause, please.
MasterCard.
Let's not forget, this is the new normal.
We're all living a new normal.
A new normal.
I don't think we return to normal.
Seeing how compliant so many Americans have been is now on to the new normal.
What life is going to be like under this new normal.
It's your lawyer suit.
We are the world. We're the world together at home.
Hi, this is Lady Gaga, and today I'm so happy that we are one world together at home.
You can't say these things. Saying these things would be incredibly irresponsible.
It's irresponsible not to say it.
Especially if it's the truth. It's fear-mongering, claptrap isolationist techno-paranoia so bogus and dangerous and stupid that it borders on treason.